Hello and welcome. I'm Brandon Torres.
And I'm Michelle Morales, and this is the Pacific Coast News for the County of San Mateo.
It's April 9th, 2014, and this is the news for the week.
Our top story for this week is that Mark Furlan will not have a jury with his trial, and instead, the judge will have the final decision. His next court appearance is May 7th. Furlan's trial was scheduled to begin on April 1st, but on April 3rd opted for the trial without a jury. Furlan is on trial for allegedly killing Keith Coffey on October 17, 2012. Coffey reportedly had over 90 wounds and was bludgeoned to death. At the time, it was Pacifica's first homicide since 2000. Christina Mazzei of San Carlos is defending Furlan, and Deputy District Attorney Sean Gallagher is the prosecutor. Another Pacifican had his pretrial conference on April 7th, Jeremy Flynn Castro. Castro was arrested on December 23rd when after the Pacifica police received a report of sexual battery. Within 5 minutes of the assault, a Pacifica police officer located and arrested Castro on the 400 block of Manor Drive. The victim told responding officers that she was walking eastbound on Manor Drive near Monterey Road when she was approached by Castro, someone she didn't know, and reported being strained and sexually battered by the suspect. Castro faces charges of sexual battery, false imprisonment, and violating his probation for a similar act in San Francisco in 2012, and entered a plea of not guilty and denied all special allegations. When he was first arrested, his bail was set at $25,000. During his January 24th court appearance, Judge Jonathan Koresh increased his bail to $100,000. His trial is scheduled for May 19th, and he remains in custody. Castro is being defended by Public Defender Mara Fager, and the court prosecutor is District Attorney Keisha Lind.
We begin tonight's Coastal Crime segment with a report of several cars being stolen from Pacifica over the past week. The first was on April 6 on Coral Ridge Drive. The resident reported that he just noticed his car was gone a little after noontime. It was last seen at around 7 p.m. the night before. The second reported stolen car was on April 4th at around 10:30 p.m. It too was last seen the night before. Then another 2 cars were reported stolen on April 2nd. The first was a red Nissan that has black primer and a large dent on the driver's side quarter panel. It was reported stolen at 7:15 on Lorinda Way and was last seen at midnight.
Excuse me, that was Loretta Way.
Excuse me. The other was reported at 7:50 a.m. on Claridge Drive in Pacifica. A Mitsubishi was stolen from the driveway where it was parked the night before. Then back on March 31st, another car was reported stolen from Peralta Road at 5:31 p.m. A resident parked his black Honda in front of his house and it was stolen. Then earlier that day at 1:42 p.m., the owner of a vehicle said she stopped by Sharon Way in Pacifica to get something to eat and her car was stolen from a parking lot. Next, we have some burglars to report on April 6th. A car on Coral Ridge Drive was broken into and credit cards were stolen sometime before 8 p.m. Another was on Terra Nova Boulevard in Pacifica that was reported on April 2nd at around 6 p.m. A resident reported that plumbing equipment was stolen sometime that day. A purse was stolen from a white Honda Civic from Imperial Drive in Pacifica sometime before 11:35 a.m. on March 31st. Lastly, on April 1st at around 7 a.m., Pacifica police units responded to the 700 block of Noriega Way with a report of a male subject on the roof of a residence. Upon arrival, officers made a verbal contact with a 34-year-old Pacifica resident. He stated he was suicidal and at one point asked officers to shoot him. An officer who is a member of the Pacifica Police Department Crisis Intervention Team spoke with the distraught subject for 3 hours and attempted to discourage him to come down from the roof. The CIT officer was successful as the resident did come down from the roof safely and was transported to a local hospital for treatment. Our last incident to report has to do with Monday's flooding. If you haven't heard yet all the rain overwhelmed the drains around the city, causing heavy flooding in Lindemar, Sharp Park, and Manor neighborhoods. The Pacifica Police Department started to receive calls approximately between 1 and 1:30 p.m. Now I'll turn it over to Michelle to talk about some crime programs.
April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. The Pacifica Police Department is joining over 200 other local law enforcement agencies and the California Highway Patrol in a month-long of zero tolerance enforcement and education campaign to curb those texting or operating handheld cell phones while driving. Officers will be on alert throughout the month for those who break the cell phone laws and place themselves and others in danger. Special high visibility enforcement operations to cite cell phone violators will take place throughout the month. The "It's Not Worth It" theme emphasizes that a phone call or text isn't worth a hefty fine or collision. The current minimum ticket cost is $161, with subsequent tickets costing at least $281. Drivers who use handheld devices are 4 times as likely to get into crashes serious enough to injure themselves. In addition, studies show that texting while driving can delay a driver's reaction time just as severely as having a blood alcohol content of a legally drunk driver. According to research, sending or receiving a text takes a driver's eyes from the road for an average of 4.6 seconds. Even 3-second glance at freeway speeds mean a driver has traveled the distance of a football field. In other crime news, the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office has launched a new sex offender registration and public notification website called Offender Watch. San Mateo County will now be part of a nationwide network of over 5,000 law enforcement agencies, including over 45 California agencies. The service provides an easy-to-use website that enables members of the community to search for potentially dangerous sex offenders and predators, which may be in close proximity to their homes, places of work, schools, religious institutions, or daycare centers. The information is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and is updated in real time by the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office as offender information changes are reported. As part of this new and innovative service, users may enter any address of interest to them and see a map and listing of all offenders within a defined radius of 0.25 miles to 2 miles away. Additionally, users can then register the address to be saved in the system, so they can be alerted if an offender or predator should register an address within that specified radius. Users may confidentially register as many addresses as they like, at no cost to them. The purpose of the Offender Watch program is to lessen the anxiety of those living and working in San Mateo County by proactively alerting them if an offender moves within proximity to them. Those who are interested can access the Offender Watch registry at the San Mateo County Sheriff's webpage. It's at www.smcsheriff.com.
Supervisor Don Harsley introduced a resolution to support State Senator Jerry Hill's Senate Bill 968, Public Lands, Martins Beach Property Access Road. It will require negotiations with a private property owner to purchase all or a portion of the property for a public access road to Martins Beach. If purchase cannot be negotiated by January 1st, 2016, the legislation would direct the State Lands Commission to acquire the road for public access using their eminent domain authority. In 2008, the 53-acre parcel and access road were purchased by a wealthy venture capitalist who erected a gate to block the public from walking or driving to Martins Beach. Efforts by numerous parties to negotiate with the property owner and even discuss the potential for addressing the access closure have been unsuccessful. Martins Beach is also the subject of 2 separate lawsuits filed in San Mateo County. The first, based on constitutional claims, is on appeal. The second, based on Coastal Act policies have not yet been heard by the trial court. The legislation is supported by a growing list of organizations, including in part the Surfrider Foundation, the Committee for Green Foothills, and the California Coastal Commission. There is no registered opposition to the proposal. Previously, the Martins Beach Access Road was owned by a family that charged visitors $5 for access and parking at the beach. Also, during the county manager report, John Maltby announced that the budget team has a new space and a new name. The Office of Budget, Policy, and Performance is located on the first floor of 400 County Center. Maltby also explained that the policy was added to the name to reflect its major priority. The group will be focusing on policies pertaining to fiscal issues such as fund balance, reserves, and debt management. Maltby said the name change represents the integration of all of these priorities with the work of producing the budget. Also during the meeting, the Board of Supervisors proclaimed the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Child abuse is considered to be one of our nation's most serious public health problems, with scientific studies documenting the link between the abuse and neglect of children and a wide range of medical, emotional, psychological, and behavioral disorders.
The Half Moon Bay canceled. The Half Moon Bay City Council canceled their April 1st meeting, but the Coastal Commission will be meeting and deciding on a few of the city's projects. On April 9th, the Commission will most likely deny the appeal for a project of 13 drainages located throughout the city of Half Moon Bay. The project would help to restore and maintain their historic and current flood control drainage function. The Commission will eliminate the Kehoe Ditch and the Roosevelt drainage, approve a coastal development permit, and adopt a mitigated negative declaration to allow routine maintenance of specified drainage features. The flood control maintenance activities proposed would include debris removal, sediment removal, vegetation management, repair of existing bank protection, and removal of non-native vegetation. The appellant, James Benjamin, contends that the approved flood control maintenance project is inconsistent with Half Moon Bay local coastal program policies because the project activities and construction staging areas would occur near sensitive habitats and as a result do not comply with the United States Fish and Wildlife Service requirements. In addition, Benjamin claims there is no evidence that the project is necessary and the project would exacerbate coastal hazards, including erosion and bluff instability. However, after reviewing the local record, Coastal Commission staff believes that the appeal does not raise a substantial local coastal program conformance issue because the city-approved project is an allowable flood control project and the city's action includes significant mitigations to avoid significant adverse resource impacts, including to sensitive species and wetlands. The Commission will also review Half Moon Bay's request to amend its ordinance to rezone some residential areas and to establish telecommunication facility standards. The Commission will even review the city's plan to start requiring alcohol permits. Half Moon Bay City Council approved the ordinance to require establishments selling alcohol, besides just beer and wine, to obtain a permit. The city currently has no special permitting requirements for establishments selling alcohol. The Half Moon Bay City Council will meet on April 15th.
Now let's take a quick look at some upcoming government meetings. We'll begin with the Midcoast Community Council. They'll be having their meeting tonight, April 9th. One of the items on the agenda is a presentation by Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District General Manager Steve Abers on the recently completed Vision Plan and the June 3rd ballot measure AA, Regional Open Space Access Preservation and Restoration Bond. State Senator Jerry Hill will be in Pacifica for Java with Jerry. State Senator Hill will treat residents to coffee at Mazzetti's Bakery on April 14th at 8 a.m. In case you don't, Mazzetti's Bakery is right on the corner of Manor Drive and Ocean Boulevard. State Senator...
Excuse me, that's Oceana Boulevard.
I'm sorry. State Senator Hill is requesting that residents bring ideas, questions, and concerns about the community. Then to switch gears over to the Water District, the North County Water District will have their next board meeting on April 16th at 7 p.m. at their headquarters, which is located at 2400 Francisco Boulevard.
Well, it's April and it's almost the end of tax time. Brandon, have you filed your taxes yet?
No, I haven't.
I have to admit, I haven't either. And if you're like us who procrastinated doing their taxes, the Pacifica Resource Center has a deal set up with myfreetaxes.com where you can go online and file your taxes for free. Their website is on the World Wide Web and it is shown below. Be sure to add the /PRC at the end so that the Pacifica Resource Center will get credit. In order to qualify for free tax filing, a resident must earn less than $58,000 annually. Otherwise, you'll be sent to the Pay for Use site. Here is Anita Rees discussing the tax programs that the Resource Center has going on during the March 24th Pacifica City Council meeting.
Anita Rees with the Pacifica Resource Center. We're in the last few weeks left of our free tax services. Our last Saturday for taxes is April 12th, and our last regularly scheduled tax day is on April 16th, after tax day. But we found last year and the past few years that even though it's after the tax deadline, people are still calling, so rather than me searching for volunteers to come back, we just schedule it. So, but even after that, we'll be doing taxes year-round by appointment. So folks just need to give us a call, or they can also drop off prior to April 15th their tax documents, and we can prepare them. Or they can go online at myfreetaxes.com/PRC. We get credit for anybody who uses that. They just have to earn under $58,000 a year, and they can and be comfortable doing it on their own. Otherwise, they can come into the office and we can help them.
Again, that was Anita Rees, Executive Director of the Pacifica Resource Center. And again, the website below is where residents can go to file their taxes for free if one earns less than $58,000 a year.
Now switching over to our beach, water, and creek report. There are just 2 beaches that have elevated levels of indicator bacteria, and signs have been posted to warn users that they may become ill if they engage in water contact activities in the posted area. They are Capistrano and Outer Harbor beaches. San Mateo County routinely tests 43 natural recreational water sites each week by a combination of county staff and volunteers, primarily associated with the local chapter of the Surfrider Foundation. Samples are analyzed by the San Mateo County Public Health Laboratory for 3 bacteria indicator parameters specified by state regulations. These indicator bacteria include total coliform, E. coli, and Enterococcus. When high indicator bacteria levels are found, the site is posted with a warning sign and is retested to confirm the results. Warning signs are posted when bacterial standards have exceeded state swimming standards but are in no confirmed source of contamination. Persons using recreational water posted by county health officials do so at their own risk. These signs are posted to alert the public that there may be a risk of illness associated with swimming in contaminated waters and are an advisory rather than a quarantine or beach closure. Warning signs are also posted at San Pablo Creek, at Lindemar Beach, and at San Vicente Creek at the Fitzgerald Marine Reserve. When swimming at ocean beaches with creeks that cross the beach, it is best practice to avoid recreational activity in the creek as well as the ocean water in the immediate area. where the creek meets the ocean. While the creek water may look calmer and safer to you or your children to play in, it typically has higher bacteria counts than the ocean waters.
In county health news, the conclusion of the first enrollment period for the Affordable Care Act was March 31st. According to the county manager, John Maltby, both the Health System and Human Services Agency reported high interest at enrollment sites where staff assisted many residents to complete the enrollment process with extended hours at key dates leading up to the deadline. While the county doesn't have final data to share yet, there are more than 32,000 residents that have enrolled. This includes 14,000 residents newly eligible for Medi-Cal and enrolled as of April 1st, and more than 18,000 residents enrolled in a private health plan through Covered California as of March 1st. For residents who were unable to create an online account due to technical difficulties, and for those who didn't complete their full application, they have until midnight on April 15th to complete their applications. And other Health County news, although the flu season is nearing the end, the county continues to release its flu report. The latest report showed that during the second week of March, 3 cases of the flu were recorded, while during the third week of March, there was just 1. Cases of the flu are continuing to decline, not just across the state, but across the nation as well.
In sports this week, it was announced that there will be no Half Moon Bay International Marathon this year. According to race director Eric Vaughn, the marathon will be canceled due to course changes that cannot be made in time for the September 20th race day. Organizers for the race promise bigger and better races in the future by expanding the 26-mile, 383-yard course to allow more runners to participate in the race and to include more course-side views for the runners as well as the spectators to enjoy. He estimates that because design changes will take up to 90 days to complete and gather the necessary permits, it will not be enough time to prepare for this year's race, and as a result, the race will not be run again until September 20th, 2015. The Half Moon Bay International Marathon is becoming as popular as their Maverick Surf Contest, with more and more runners participating from all over the country and the world every year. According to an independent study conducted by Kent State University, it was estimated last year's race brought in $1.56 million to the county of San Mateo. The event is good for the economy, says Charisse McHugh, President and CEO of the Half Moon Bay Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau. It brings money into the town, she says. All of last year's sponsors were set to sponsor this year's race and were shocked to hear of this year's cancellation, but are still looking forward to sponsoring next year's race. Ms. McHugh also stated that knowing Eric Vaughn, he will bring the marathon back bigger and better than before. In other local sports news, the Half Moon Bay High School's tennis team came a little closer to the Peninsula Athletic League Ocean Division Championship with a win over Sequoia High last Thursday. The Cougars have 2 league matches left this week and are expected to advance to division playoffs. Also, the boys' swim team has improved to 4-0 by beating San Mateo High 108-42. The Cougars won all but one event that day with a 1-2-3 finish in the 100-yard freestyle led by Avery Calhoun, who also won the 50-yard freestyle with teammate Brendan Garrison winning the 200-yard medley. And last but not least in sports this week, a Cougar Casino Night sports fundraising event will be held on April 11th to raise money for local sports school programs at the Long Branch Saloon and Farm. Susan Royce, one of the 4 co-chairs for the event, says she hopes to raise $70,000 to help pay for uniforms, equipment, and fees for tournaments. Justin Ferdinand, the school's athletic director, estimates it costs $250,000 to fund all sports offerings and that donations are greatly appreciated. So please support our local schools' sports programs by attending this special fundraising event. And that's your local sports news for this week.
And that's the news for the coast for this week as well. Again, we finally created our Facebook page, so please look for the Pacific Coast News, the show. You can always submit news, tips, suggestions, videos, or give feedback. Our next broadcast will be April 23rd. Please join us again then. We'll leave you with some footage of the Couriers performing at the official opening of the Devil's Slide Trail. Enjoy.
Get in the car, let's go.